My name's Adam Manaka and I'm the Financial Controller for Hi-Tech Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at Hi-Tech Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. Hi-Tech Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
Now that is what I call a start-finish straight. 75 years ago, this area would have been ringing to the sound of fighter aircraft because this was a base for Spitfires and Hurricanes during World War II. We're at Thruxton and we're here for round 7 of the Hyundai Heavy Industries British Sidecar Championship. This is still the fastest track on the calendar. The whole racetrack goes around the perimeter of this World War II airfield. Our championship has been dominated so far by Tim and Tristan Reeves. They sit on top of the pile with a maximum 300 points. Have a look at the table. We've got several races to go. Can anybody catch the Reeves boys? Well, it's looking unlikely, isn't it? Look at that, maximum 300. Stevens there, defending champion right behind. Ben Holland goes well here. Kershaw in 4th. Gary Bryant's had 3 passengers so far. He's got Tom Bryant this weekend. Horsepole and Phil Bell. 600 Cup, 67 points. The Birtles aren't here, so Todd Ellis can only extend that lead. It's a wet race. It's been really funny weather here all weekend, and coming to the line for this one, and the return of Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence. Good to see them back. There you have the series leaders, multiple world champions, Tim Reeves and Tristan. Ben Holland and Stuart Ramsey. Big wave from them. Look at those clouds. Great wet patches everywhere on this tarmac. And a good crowd always turns up here at Thruxton to watch this. The banking, look at the bank. People all over it, all the way round this first bend. Okay then, eyes down, look in. Here we go. Rob Biggs there, Ben Ramsey, number 5. Andy Peach, Ken Edwards, number 4. Pole position for Tim and Tristan Reeves. Chris Walker getting a good spin up. Most people, as far as I can ascertain, are on wet tyres here. Yeah, you can definitely see the wet tyre on the back of Tim Reeves. Carl Cox Motorsport Kawasaki going through the puddles, the splash coming up. A good start by Chris Walker. A cracking start by Steve Kershaw and Stuart Clark on the Express tyres. Kawasaki, oh, look at it moving about through on the inside. Goes Chris Walker. Rain light firmly on, but there is plenty of water, so forgive that little slip. Kershaw alongside. There you can see Matt McLaurin going through. A big grid here. The 600s, I suspect, are going to run out of breath just a little bit here at Thruxton. Talking of 600s there, Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson, number 6, the Cup Series leaders, alongside the defending champions, Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charlie. Gary Bryan with Tom Bryant on board, out on this very fast right-hander before they sweep up Woodham Hill. They're on Woodham Hill now. Matt McLaurin, AD Hope on the Blue Machinery bike ahead of Rupert Archer and Steve Thomas, on board with Ricky and Ryan underneath Gary Bryan, coming up towards the chicane. This is where the grandstands are always packed. Good place for overtaking here. Reeves already establishing a good lead then. He's on his way. Tim Reeves, series leader by a country mile. Kershaw hunting the back end of Chris Walker and Ashley Hawes, as Tim Reeves looking imperious, I have to say. Look at the lead already. This man is riding as well as he's ever done, in my opinion, and he and Tristan just loving being back full-time on the domestic championship. No world duties for them. I would have expected more from Ricky Stevens, actually, at the moment, moving alongside Rupert Archer and Steve Thomas. The Hanafin Suzuki, I beg your pardon, of Rupert Archer. His teammate Ben Holland runs a Kawasaki engine. Reeves. Look at the lead he has, and those wet tyres will degrade as the race goes on lap 3 of 8. The Reeves brothers, look at Tristan just moving around, anchoring that back wheel, and slowly out of the chicane. They're not appearing to hurry at all. They've got it all under control. Their pit board's telling them that. And Kershaw and Clark, 4th in the championship, coming here with everything to do. Not able to get past Chris Walker at the moment. There is Ben Holland. Here comes Ricky Stevens. Both these crews from the Portsmouth area. Rupert Archer, number 70, Steve Thomas next, and then Matt McLaurin, A.D. Hope. Walker, Andy Peach actually got a flyer on that aged Suzuki. So Andy Peach and Ken Edwards sitting strongly ahead of Chris Walker and Ashley Hawes, who are now coming under a little bit of pressure from Steve Kershaw and Stuart Clark. And you can see just how much water there's been around, because we're carrying a fair amount of it on the onboard camera of Steve Kershaw. Chris Walker holding his own, but Andy Peach, these conditions actually working well for Andy Peach, because whilst the Suzuki is about 20 horsepower down and 20 miles an hour down, and top speed, in the wet conditions or damp conditions, it is less important. I would have expected Kershaw to have got himself past Chris Walker, but he's right on the back end now. And Walker, in turn, is closing down Andy Peach. Here goes Kershaw, through he goes. Now, that's one place further up the ladder for the Scots. The Express tyres, courtesy of Ian Hamilton. Express tyres Lockerbie, of course. And Sam Hamilton, sadly no longer with us. The father, a very accomplished sidecar racer himself back in the day, hence the Express tyres interest in sidecar racing. Andy Peach, Ken Edwards taking a very, very wide line, and Kershaw is going to capitalise on that. I think he's almost alongside. It's only a matter of time, as the old song says. Number 29 then, Kershaw. This is his first season back, I remind you, since that massive crash at the end of 2015, which he won't want to be reminded of, I can assure you. Looking every which way to see if he can find a way past. They're right out at the back now, around Church and then the climb up Woodham Hill. This is where the Kawasaki will come out of the slipstream and go past with a power advantage. Indeed it does. And so does Chris Walker. Two Kawasaki's fly past the Suzuki of Andy Peach, so he's dropped 2 places in one fell swoop. The left, right flick. Onto the start-finish straight again. Walker then shadowing Kershaw on the penultimate lap. But Tim Reeves is by now out in the country. Tim and Tristan Reeves on their way to the first of their victories here, I suspect, at Thruxton. They were so fast. No one near, though, the lap record of 1:17.5 held by Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood. All a little bit off the pace, but then the surface at Thruxton leaves a little bit to be desired. Certainly it's extremely grippy, one of the most abrasive tracks that we visit, and tyre degradation obviously a consideration there as well. Chris Walker then on the Santander Salt, likewise Santander Salt machine of Andy Peach. Peach hanging on, but not able to retake that position. Still a strong showing though, considering the disadvantage on power and speed that the Suzuki has over those very quick Kawasaki's. But Andy Peach certainly got it off the line. He looked strong at the start, and he's carried that momentum through the race. Number 70, Hannafin Suzuki of Rupert Archer, and right with him, Todd Ellis and Charlie Richardson. 600 leaders. Absolutely phenomenal performance from this duo, and Ellis's rookie season. So that's astonishing. All he's got to do is keep the Birchall boys at bay when they come back. Maria Costello, Kirsty Hawkswell, tailenders here being lapped by Kershaw, and likewise now Chris Walker. But good to see Maria Costello out there. In actual fact, we have a very small 600cc grid here at Thruxton this weekend due to a World Championship clash, and also there is an event elsewhere in the country which has drained the system of 600 bikes. So if Maria keeps on going, she's going to be on the podium here, you know. It looks like it. So that's great news for her. Currently in third place in the 600 class. Kirsty Hawkswell, vastly experienced. And on the final lap, race leaders flicking through the chicane, sitting up to take the checkered flag. Last lap flag still out. They get the checker. Tim and Tristan Reeves take victory in race one, and fighting their way through, Ricky Stevens. Oh dear me, this is Ben Holland and the battle, Kershaw and Walker, that's your podium. So Ricky Stevens and Ben Holland much further down the order than I would have thought, but Holland heads Stevens home, and Maria Costello one lap adrift, third place in the 600s. But there you have it, race leaders Tim and Tristan Reeves march on, another 25 points to add to the 300 they brought here. Podium then, Reeves, Kershaw, Walker. Brave fight, 4 on the bike, 4th in the race for Andy Peach. Holland headed Stevens home. Stevens won't be happy with that. What has he got to do? Archer McLaurin, Ellis 9th, but Cup winners. 2nd in the Cup, the Christies. And where is Maria Costello on the leaderboard? There she is, further down. Race 2 coming to the line. There's a little bit of history being made here at Thruxton today, because pole position, Gary Bryan with Tom Bryant. Gary Bryant's been racing sidecars for many years, including the TT. Over here, this young man, Todd Ellis with Chaz Richardson. Todd Ellis is Gary Bryant's stepson. He grew up as a nipper in the sidecar paddock, and that's what you get. He almost beat the old man in race 1. Can he do it in race 2? Father and stepson go head to head. And it's a beautiful day here for race 2. The sun is out, everybody's on slick tyres. You can see perfectly dry circuit. Great racing, reverse grid. So Todd Ellis and Gary Bryan across the front row. Tim Reeves, you can bet, will come hurtling through, but they're all tucked in now. Rupert Archer from row 2 gets a good start as well. Todd Ellis on the inside. Look at the bunch. Oh, there go. Tim and Tristan Reeves round the outside of Ricky Stevens, who got boxed in. Chris Walker is ahead of him. Matt McLaurin and A.D. Hope on the Blue Machinery bike come under the Ben Holland hammer. Ben Holland goes well here at Thruxton, but less so than I expected in the first race. I would have thought he'd have been a bit quicker, but he couldn't find his way through the traffic. Steve Kershaw, Stuart Clark then following Ricky Stevens, who in turn is shadowing Chris Walker and Ashley Hawes. These are remarkable shots. Ben Holland, Stuart Ramsey going past Gary Bryan, underneath Gary Bryan, up to 2nd place they are. 2nd place, they're getting their heads down this time, and they've left Ricky Stevens absolutely in their wake. He cannot muscle his way past Chris Walker and Ashley Hawes. Let's have a look though. He's on the inside. Is there room? Yes, there is. Sneaks past out in the country here, the fastest part of the circuit. This is devilishly tough on passengers. Ben Holland with Tim Reeves right with him, and Reeves goes through on the inside. That Carl Cox Motorsport Kawasaki is so quick. At the chicane, Ben Holland, Stuart Ramsey, Tim and Tristan Reeves, Gary Bryan, Todd Ellis, Chris Walker there right behind Ricky Stevens, and Kershaw not getting the best run on these guys, but through go Ricky Stevens again. Another place, up they go. They've really got to get their heads down and chase Reeves if they're going to do anything about even remotely considering retaining this championship. Kershaw looking underneath Chris Walker and Ashley Hawes. Just watch the passenger action here. Hawes over the rear wheel, getting the drive down. Chris Walker's taken to the sidecars very well indeed on the Santander Salt Kawasaki. In the drive, but he's getting away. What's up with Kershaw? What is up with Kershaw? There is an issue here. This bike is slowing. I would have expected Kershaw to be right on the back, but there appears to be an issue. They're getting away. Looks like Kershaw's race is run. Kershaw's race is run. That's a retirement. Oh, more mechanical woes for Steve Kershaw and Stuart Clark, and they can see their championship challenge just evaporating. Not so for this man. Tim Reeves leads Ben Holland. Ricky Stevens then up to third. In fourth place, it's Gary Bryan and Tom Bryant, and look at that. Todd Ellis, Charlie Richardson, right there on the back of Chris Walker and Ashley Hawes on a 600cc. 600cc Honda, as it happens. A lot of people have been calling it a Yamaha all season, but I'm reliably informed by Gary Bryan it is a CBR 600 Honda. Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood. There's Gary Bryan and Tom Bryan, of course. Neville Jones, former passenger early in the season, but Tom Bryan is having a bit of a change around and being tried out in one or two outfits. I think that young passenger has a bright future. 32, Gary Horspoll and Jimmy Connell having a right scrap with Rupert Archer and Steve Thomas on the Hannafin Suzuki. Gary Horspoll, former double F2 British champion. Rob Biggs and Ben Ransley in the thick of the action there. And Andy Peach and Ken Edwards as well. We are on board with Andy Peach and Ken Edwards. Still running Santander Salt, but also now running under the colours of Andy Peach's own company. Life Safety, which is security systems, through he goes, underneath Roger Lovelock. Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence on their BMW, having a one-off ride here. Are we going to see them back in the championship for 2018? Maybe even more races from them this year, the man from Marlborough. Oh, what a sad sight. Kershaw and Clark parked out in the country. Terminal engine failure for them, it looks like. That McLaren 80 Hope then ahead of Andy Peach. We are on lap 5 of 8 on this 2.35 mile Thruxton circuit in glorious, glorious sunshine. This race, of course, being run at a much faster pace than the opener due to dry track conditions, great fat slick tyres, and an awful lot of horsepower. Rick Lawrence's leathers billowing in the wind, reminiscent of a bygone era, because he always wore leathers that billowed in the wind. Ricky Stevens through, taking another place, now up to second. Gary Horspoll, Rob Biggs and Ben Ransley, also similarly adorned in Express Tyres livery. Gary Horspoll, Jimmy Connell, a man who commutes on a regular basis from Scotland, here this weekend with his daughter, cooking in the camper van, and why not? No better place to be than the Hampshire countryside for a weekend away. Chris Walker, Ashley Hawes having another good fight here. Podium first time out. Are they going to be able to do anything about a podium this time out? Well, on lap 6 of 8, locked in a battle with Gary Bryan and Tom Bryant. They're going to have their work cut out to make it onto the podium, because Gary Bryan is just getting quicker and quicker all the time. Give him a good passenger and he'll show you what he can do. Oh, big twitch there. In the background, Maria Costello and Kirsty Hawkswell on their 600cc JG Speedfit Kawasaki. Chris Walker not able to find a way past here. His eyes very focused behind that visor. Leader on the final lap. In fact, the leading crew's now on the final lap. And Gary Bryan is doing a cracking job here, holding off the stalker. Race leaders again, Tim and Tristan Reeves. Becoming a habit, this. In fact, it's become a very regular habit. This will move their points tally on to 350 on completion of this lap. And Tristan Reeves very much enjoying racing here on the domestic stage. Very much a family man, doesn't like tramping all over the world and Europe. Likes to do it here at home, and he's doing a great job here at Thruxton. Up to the chicane for the last time for Tim and Tristan Reeves, with Philippe Gallien and Flavien Berton, the Frenchman, ahead of them. Belgian passenger. Over the line goes Tim and Tristan Reeves, just lapping the Frenchman. Runner-up spot for Ricky Stevens and Ryan Charwood, and it's the third place step on the podium for Ben Holland and Stuart Ramsey. But there it is, another victory for the boys from Kent. Is there anyone going to stop them? Terrific. Stevens, Holland, that's the podium. Walker fourth, did get the better of Gary Bryan, but only just. Archer horsepole, look at that, eighth for Todd Ellis and Chaz Richardson, cup winners again. Lovelock, these are in the points, these guys. Sam and Adam Christie, 14th place, second in the cup race, and 19th this time for Maria Costello, another podium. After a long delay here at Thruxton, the third race got underway, and it was due to be an 8-lapper here, but things did not work out according to plan. As the outfits left the line and headed off down towards the complex, there was an absolutely massive coming together, which resulted in the biggest Sidecar crash that I have seen in many, many years of racing. Huge, huge crash. Outfits destroyed, involving Rob Biggs and Ben Holland primarily, although several other Sidecars were caught up in the melee, and you can see for yourselves just how serious that accident was. Incredibly, no one was seriously injured. It just took my breath away when I saw that, and I feared the worst, I have to say. But looking from the onboards, you can see what happened here. Rob Biggs moved across the track. The nose of Ben Holland went underneath. For the restart, would you believe it, on the warm-up lap, Dean Nichols and Kenny Cole upended, the result being that the entire race was abandoned and all of the outfits shepherded back to the pits. There will be no more Sidecar racing from Thruxton this weekend. So the two results that we had earlier in the weekend obviously counted, and that is how the table stands with Reeves' double victory. 350, 213 Stevens chase. Holland, that massive crash, and they all walked away. It was incredible. Thank goodness that those guys were okay. It was indeed a big one. Ellis, the cup leader.
On a sad note, the sport of drag racing recently lost one of its most loved characters. Stan Sainty was both an icon and a pioneer of Australian top fuel racing, and the Sainty name has become synonymous with Aussie ingenuity. Speedweek would like to extend its deepest sympathies to the entire Sainty family. Nitro racing in this country simply won't be the same without him.